Come on.
Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
A Alliance versus Cloud9, another rematch on our hands. even if we may think Run to the Groups was a little bit more, well, maybe a little bit more tougher, not as clear cut. It definitely turned out that the seeding was kind of right, gods? It seems like our presumably our seeded 2 and 3 teams in both these groups match up against each other, and then are going to have a rematch to determine second place within their groups.
Remaining.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess Group A was like, I don't know what Bears were seeded going in. Were they the 1 seed?
I think
were
Bears,
they the 4 seed?
I think Bears were the 4 seed, honestly.
I think they were the 4 seed
because they're a new
too.
team, right? Like, you can't seed them anywhere else.
Yeah, that's why the groups were so fucked up. Like, I mean, you can criticize the groups all you want, but end of the day, I don't think Bears have earned a high seed just because of their roster. So the result is that Secret and Na'Vi had a tough time because of that, and Na'Vi go out in the groups, but over time, those things will balance themselves out.
Yeah, absolutely. Na'Vi still have, I think, a lot of improvement to be made, and they will have the opportunity to make that improvement. Like DAC is the end of. We're going to go into Alliance versus Cloud9 with our fan favorite. Start our first pick for Alliance.
Mm-hmm. Different bands, though. Very different bands. Disruptor, I mean, Meepo ban is like the respect ban towards Ace. A few teams first stage banning it against certain players, but IO Tiny against Alliance, sure. Limbs Tiny, take it out. Disruptor first stage ban, we saw C9 going for a couple first stage disruptors yesterday, but they also really like heroes like the Rubik as well, so I don't think that's going to throw them off too much.
This is a ban pool that maybe we didn't see in the last series, but I feel like a lot of teams do this 1-2 ban against Alliance. Ban away the Wisp, as well as the Tiny, just because Limbs Tiny is that threatening.
And a first stage Shadow Fiend, so almost maybe like a part block pick, worried about a second pick from Alliance. Like the physical damage carries go very well with Slatter, but there's also still the Weaver there, so I don't feel like you necessarily could have jumped to the full conclusion they were going for it. And Alliance goes Sniper right off the bat as the pseudo laning stage counter to the SF. Sniper does match up very well against the SF in the early stages, but this is an SF with an Ogre support.
Yeah, I'm feeling like Sniper is gonna have to have a support with him in the beginning, because Sniper's range is not that good at level 1. Ogre is going to be the threatening force that allows SF to be able to do souls necessary, and then it'll go from Sniper having the attack damage advantage, SF having a clear CS advantage. Those souls. So Alliance, presumably they have some sort of plan in mind to deal with this one. So far, our lineups look very similar. Tanky, strength hero picked up the maybe support on the side of Alliance, maybe a ranged mid laner, glass cannon.
10 seconds remaining.
Cloud9, I would hazard to say, are probably going to have a little bit team fight power, but our 3-4 bans come out. Cloud9, of course, going to ban away the Lifestealer anytime there's a Slardar. If teams want to pick up Slardar, Lifestealer as a 1-2, I think they're more than welcome to. Most teams are going to be able to deal with that, but you don't want to give that Lifestealer Slardar an option as a
Radiant team.
Yeah, and we saw, I mean, that was, I think, one of the downfalls of Nip yesterday, is that Loda got his hands on that 3rd, 4th pick Lifestealer multiple games in a row with a Slatter on his team, and Nip just didn't show enough respect towards the pick and just how well Loda could play it. So Cloud9, having seen those games, I mean, I think we'll see like second stage bans Lifestealers, even without a Slatter, it may be worthy of a ban, but even more so because of it. So see what Loda ends up on as a result instead. The Weaver's still in the pool. We could see something like Avenge still stands out as a good pick, either as a support or a core for either team. I mean, you're looking at pretty heavy physical damage drafts, so Avenge is definitely a top pick still. Things fairly open for the two teams as far as their carries go.
Yeah, I like Venge as a third pick here for Cloud9 because first of all it'll take it away from Alliance who play a lot of that hero, but also the fact that the core Venge, especially with the Ogre Magi, is very threatening, and I think you have to draft around that idea, and then Cloud9 could just be like, oh no, actually with this fourth pick, we're just doing a Venge support. They could threaten this very powerhouse, like, we're going to hit mid game really hard, we're going to have a ton of physical damage, and Alliance may have to draft some heroes, some sort of sustain or something to be able to beef up in regard to that threat, whether it is or core.
Yep. I totally agree. So, Darkseid, the other ban from Cloud9. This is partly why the lifesteal snuck through, is because Nip felt like they needed to ban heroes like Darkseid that pair up with Slatter and really reserve bans towards the loader heroes. So overall game plan for Alliance, we'll have to wait and see. They typically like to fight around some of those timings like the blink daggers and get loader like more of a mid-game oriented fighting carry. They banned the Slark, so that doesn't... I don't know, I feel like I haven't seen much of Ace play Slark, and I feel like I haven't seen much of Slark in general, let alone successful Slark games. Tanky, stat-heavy heroes, Yeah,
I feel like I've seen a couple of Slarks versus Underlords. You've got decent kill potential from that hero in lane, and then also the tankiness of Underlord.
Reserve time.
A nice for that steal off of. But then again, I'm actually just surprised in general that Underlord has not been touched, at least in the 3-4 bans, just because no matter what, that hero, even if you try and counter it,
Alliance's turn to pick.
does not seem to ever really be true. Do go for the Venge. Third pick up here for Cloud9.
Yeah, it's kind of like a test the water, see where Alliance go with their draft by picking a Venge up. Since it is still flexible, support, core, gives you some save. It's your draft well anyway, so Alliance will most likely react like with the support themselves. I feel like they also want to just wait to see where Cloud9 go with their draft, learn a bit more of what they're doing before they commit too much to any like getting a secondary core hero.
Radiant team pick.
All right.
Like that hero would be the nice tester. That being said, though, it works well with Slardar. It is physical damage and all that. But do you think that Dazzle Sniper is... I mean, offensively, right, the Weave is really good. But defensively, Shallow Grave, Saving Sniper, you would prefer to have a hero that just doesn't allow people to go on top of the Sniper in the first place.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I feel like the obvious response to this Dazzle is an Axe pick. Like, picking the Axe against the Dazzle makes total sense here. It gives you it's something Cloud9 needed anyways, to have that initiating type offlaner. Whether it's like the Hesjo he used to play, or the Bat Rider, but that hero's fallen off. He plays like Legion Commander, but I think Axe is just the obvious counterplay to the Dazzle, and it's a hero that you initiate in, and during that Berserker's Call, you've got all that armor, so you're not going to necessarily melt to an amp damage. As far as the Sniper Dazzle goes, I feel like the Slatter Sniper is where you get the offensive coordination. Like the Corrosive Haze alone is enough for the Sniper to easily pew people down. The Dazzle is not going to get much value with the Sniper in terms of an offensive weave. Perhaps a defensive one if Sniper's getting jumped and he's got that defensive armor on him, but even that, it's like once he's jumped, he's in trouble.
Are missing from this draft. The Lone Druid and the Luna have not. Luna would actually fit in.
Yeah,
I feel pretty well with. Well, maybe I was gonna say it fits well with C9's lineup, but they'd be going into a Sniper.
Yeah,
that's a little bit more difficult, as well as Dazzle with the offensive weave.
I don't like it for Alliance. Like the Luna Sniper seems like a pretty weak duo, bit too squishy, and the heroes don't really complement each other very well. They go for the Lone Druid though, the double Sniper. I haven't seen, I presume, Loda play this one, so I think this is a first as far as Alliance go, unless there's a game I perhaps missed out of them, but...
They could still do, depending on the map, they could still do mid Lone Druid and put Sniper safe lane if they feel like the Lone Druid will suit better against SF and presumably Ogre in that.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll...
Reserve time.
And yeah, the double Sniper route, we're kind of thinking about it, right? The Lone Druid was another notable exception, and it doesn't really go with either lineup here, so... It does mean that Cloud9 are going to be hard-pressed when it comes to high ground, but it should mean they dominate the mid because of Lone Druid's power spikes. He presumably will not be the strongest core you could have at 15 minutes, while C9 look very strong in that regard. Whether or not Vengeful Spirit is going to be a safe and unless they pick up a very slow hero with SF, Ogre, Axe hitting his Blink Dagger timing, seems like C9 will be very dominant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Alliance in the mid game, leaving the safety of their base or their towers and shrines is going to be very difficult because at least right now, like Sniper Lone Druid can't easily move out on the map. They're not exactly mobile heroes. Yeah, you've got this Slider as an initiator, but on Cloud9 side, you've got Venge Swaps, you've got Blink Calls, you've got an Ogre who can just walk around scouting stuff out, and Alliance are lacking that kind of secondary, kind of aggressive type playmaking hero. The Clockwork would have perhaps fit quite nicely. You get the cogs for control. It's a good kind of setup and lockdown to enable the Sniper and Lone Druid to help protect them, like just act as a body, be it yourself or your cogs, to stop heroes like Shadow Fiend getting too close to them. But they'll have to look elsewhere for that kind of secondary tank, so to speak, with the Slider, if that's what they have in mind. Centaur's even an option? Like,
10 seconds remaining.
I don't know. Yeah, that's not sure. Right, where the bear could run over somebody, but either way, right? It is a nice tanky initiator and gives you some options for Sniper and Lone Druid to work around when initiated on.
Yeah. Lone Druid gets pretty damn fast and doesn't necessarily need the Stampede as much, but I still think it's great. The Sniper gets a lot of benefit from it. As for Cloud9, we see Terrorblade banned out, one of the better kind of ranged carries to perhaps be able to at least deal a bit with the Sniper Lone Druid in terms of matching their range, and also takes vectors very well. I think that's where Cloud9, we talk about their draft, having a strong, scary mid-game. Having a hero to break towers faster is going to be able to punish Alliance's lack of real mid-game team fight. So Alliance go for the core Slider. They pick up a Rubik. So something Alliance do more than other teams is just pick these strong dual supports in terms of the lanes. Like, they like to go for a straight up tri lane with a solo offlaner. Whether that's still going to be the case because it's a Slider, we'll have to see. But they're a team more than others that will prioritize securing their safe lane.
So Axe is not going to be enough. Are you feeling core or support?
10 seconds remaining.
For the Axe?
For the last pick, Cloud9.
Oh, yeah. I'm probably feeling more the core. Okay, they go PA. I feel like they just needed something that's going to scale a bit better. And PA, fantastic option against Lone Druid Sniper. It's all single target physical damage. The supports do no magic damage. Slider doesn't do anything. Like, this is all right-click physical. So Blur is going to be incredible this game. Blink Strike gives you a gap closer to fight the Sniper Lone Druid with. This is, on paper, the perfect pick for Cloud9.
Yeah, I was looking over the potential pickups here, and that's why I asked you core versus support, because I felt like core wise, if you're gonna go for a last pick core here and not do Venge carry, you have to have some sort of gap closer first of all, and you have to have some sort of either early BKB hero, or you have to have some sort of hero that can dish out damage and ignore that Savage Roar somehow. And I think the only heroes I could come up with was PA with the early BKB timing. She hits the mid game really hard, which seems Jug with the Omni Slash, but and it's not as mobile as then I think the other one was more of a slower style hero, which would have been Sven. I haven't seen Sven versus Lone Druid matchup. I presume that it's still Lone Druid favored quite heavily.
Yeah.
Very definite peak where you have BKB.
Yeah, Sven just seems kind of hard to play in the current patch with his item timings. It seems like maybe it's just like an adjustment thing, because it used to be like it was a very clear progression where you'd stack your Ancients at certain times and then hit this like Sven really early Blink, Echo Saber, Helm of the Dominator timing, and now it seems like a bit more awkward because the Helm of the Dominator isn't like quite the item it used. I mean, it's better in some ways, but for Sven, it's actually worse since you don't get the lifesteal to go with it. But the PA I think the Terrorblade could have worked for them. Not that it's a mobile core, but because of the range factor. But the PA I like actually better than the Terrorblade. The Terrorblade was banned, of course, as well as that last ban.
Yeah. The Terrorblade would have been a nice, like, pushing hero just to overwhelm Alliance by 20 minutes. A nice idea. Smoke up, TP's out. Well, for C9 anyway. It's kind of surprising because everyone TP's out right now. Maybe Alliance are going to do some of their signature level 1 shenanigans. Maybe go for a late smoke or something of the like because
they've got the smoke. But they'll be scouted by this very early ward if they don't pop it soon, so this is likely to be read by Cloud9.
There, maybe the tricky Alliance thing in this game is actually going to be playing super conservatively and just taking their 2 runes, one of which is going to be through the Spirit Bear.
Yeah, and Spirit Bear scanning things out at top. This 4-man Alliance unit around this mid lane, not doing all too much. EGM just taunting his way through the mid lane, showing himself. It's the, hey, I'm warding your high ground, but not really. And good to know that that's not actually the case.
We didn't talk about the their decision to go with the off-lane Slardar. We were talking about the Centaur. I kind of prefer the off-lane Slardar. The Centaur was the only other hero that I could come up with, but I do like the fact that they chose to run this hero off lane and then pick up our Rubik instead, which is a nice quick reaction to C9.
The one thing I don't like is all they've got is single target physical damage now. I feel like perhaps if they picked up a support that had like a Lina type support or something. I mean, Lina with Dazzle wouldn't have worked too well necessarily, but I feel like they needed like either to diversify their damage output a bit or add some extra team fight, which they still don't have. Like, it's not like this. I mean, the Rubik gives them a very tiny bit depending on what spells he can steal, but realistically, this is more like just like an early game, good laning hero type pickup that can transition, offer some team fight involvement, but I feel like that's still a big gap in what Cloud9 have.
Pretty sure the smoke got seen, or at least they know the rotation of the supports. Hanskin and EGM are sitting in the trees. They, as a result, are switching up the lanes. Hestejo will still kind of be caught here. Maybe their exact positioning was a bit of surprise to him. And probably be our first blood. He is tanky through the end of this. He's got the PMS. The sun's going to come out. But, oh, don't he Rice. He got his stun a little bit sooner. Yeah. Homies help homies. Come on now.
And to stun sooner, like he pseudo body blocked. It wasn't like a full-on body block, but it did make him have to walk a bit around, and then he stunned very late. That was Rice still waking up perhaps a bit.
Either way, it seems like C9 are able to dodge the aggro trend, though this is still going to be awkward. They have to kind of leave Ace alone here because they can't commit to a tri-lane. Otherwise, the 2 supports just come back and a lone Druid tri-lane with 2 supports, and that doesn't feel... I don't know what C9 do with their supports.
Ace is already wanting to be back in that bottom lane now that Dazzle is top and there's an Orb of Venom on Loda's Bear, so... yeah, this is not going to be a good lane stage. And I think that's important that Alliance win this lane stage because otherwise the PA problem is going to be very significant based on how the hero matches up against the Sniper Lone Druid. So they're doing everything they can to try and shut down Ace's early game.
Passment back and forth for SF. 8 and 7 on Sniper. Ooh, he's taking it to him. Maybe Knight will, of course, pick up that jungle farm as well and start building up those souls. It's expected slow start.
Mid lane, some aggression coming in. EGM with a haste rune. Pull him back into the shrapnel.
That's just so unfair. Is that triple shrapnel? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
The whole entire area is covered.
As he hits the level 3 timing as well, really nicely timed. And I mean, part of it's having the haste rune. I think even without a haste rune, potentially you could get in behind him and make that play even regardless. But the haste rune makes it easier.
Spotted out here by Rise. The Port Vengeful Spirit is actually turning a little bit into a core with the way that he's been able to take most of this solo farm bottom.
Yeah, Rise is normally that hard 5, not getting too much. I mean, some games will get farmed because Noya's playing heroes like the Ogre, who is that pseudo 4 position in terms of the fact he's roaming and moving around the map more, but doesn't actually farm as much as some of the laning supports go. But right now, yeah, lane's overall pretty good. PA has managed to farm at least okay at the top lane just by using the Stifling Dagger, but is now going to like fall back into the jungle, use the Shrine, and
I think she
probably
Iron Talons maybe.
Can. What's she holding on to? She gets the poor man's shield. But
Wondering how much time he plans on spending inside jungle.
It's maybe worth doing regardless because it's just some casual armor as well. It's not too big of a gold investment to get an extra couple points in armor, and you're going to hold on to that Quelling Blade for some time.
All right, nope, they are not going to force Ace to do this skimping jungle / half lane situation any longer. They are going to rotate Hestejo up to top lane. He's level 4 now, so he can make jungle work pretty well, and they can put a lot more pressure onto on with this combination of EA.
This is the laning step that C9 wanted, ideally from level 1. We'll see if Alliance take both supports back down bottom to pressure the PA again, but they're kind of at that stage where it's harder to do so now that the PA has some levels. These Rubik Dazzle supports are now squishy. Level 1, they're not squishy because there's no damage output from the PA, but now that PA has the Blightstone, is going to pick up food soon, presumably, like a level 5 PA with a Venge Stun or an Ogre rotation is going to find very easy kills.
Yeah, those the introduction of those early orbs, really beneficial for a couple heroes. One being the Spirit Bear, having, well, if you want to, have 2 different orbs, the bear and the other on the actual hero. And then the PA with the dagger applying that one, the Lightstone, and the dagger damage is insane. Toss back into Noya. They're actually going to turn and try and kill Limp here. Baby Knight knows he's not making out alive underneath all this shrapnel, but they don't get the second raise in, which means Limp's not threatened. He turns around and kills Rise as well, and Alliance's laning stage just seems to get better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very well executed with the support play, and Hanskin and EGM always being in the right lanes to have the impact they need. EGM's already got the money to pick up some arcane boots now, and I feel like now that you've kind of secured your lanes, your next goal is to maintain that pressure on the PA. Perhaps we see some kind of a smoke play down bottom with the 2 supports. Loda shouldn't need too much help up top. Doesn't get the last hit on the tower. Hestejo does get a deny there. Loda thinks about diving. He is level 5 with an Entangle, could theoretically get this kill, but his bear is a bit too low for now.
I think because the supports are off map right now, a little bit scared. They could be winning up a tower, especially as it was dropping low. And bottom lane, kind of securing an Invis rune doesn't really do too much for them, but is C9. They actually just bottle, give the Invis to Rise, and they'll again on this mid lane.
Didn't get scouted by the dire side, so this could be something Limp does not expect. No stun on the Ogre though, just the Bloodlust.
EM comes in immediately. Limp is going to be stunned, turned around. Baby Knight hits a medium raise, and the long one will manage to fish up Limp. EM as well. Fortunately, still no level 6 for Rise. No swap back, but Baby Knight might still be able to get him 2 right clicks and 2 raises is all it takes to kill a support. Double kill for Baby Knight. This time, very good, for, especially with Limp so far up. Yes, and experience.
Ooh, Ace at bottom getting dived.
TP and miss. Oh, nice jump forward. Now Rise is here and a crit, of course. Just add insult to injury. I'm sure he was dead anyway, but it makes it all the cooler. Ace outplays Yonatan with a clutch Phantom Strike.
Yeah, nice little bait there, and Yonatan Fan getting close to getting the kill there, but at the end of the day, that's what PA does best, be very elusive, bouncing around, and suddenly things get a lot more equalized thanks to those last couple of plays there. Secures up the PA's early game, takes the sniper down a notch, and it was really all off of that Invis room. Very good strategic call, giving it to Rise and letting Baby Knight bait it out in this mid lane to set up on the sniper. So feels like this laning stage is looking a whole lot better for Cloud9 all of a sudden.
That should help.
Minutes in. Oh, sorry. Good. Loda totally free. Baby Knight. Second, not too far away, and I think another important thing, Hestejo was getting a decent amount out of his off lane. Gave him that secured farm in the first couple of levels, and he's turned that into pretty proficient neutraling. Should have a well-timed Blink Dagger, which we talked about that initiation. Important it is versus Alliance's Vapors.
Here's the big move bottom. They bring load and everything. It looks like Sniper may even consider coming down for a full 5-man. And with this creep pull, I don't think you want to be anywhere near this tower, Ace. He's amped up. Creep pull almost guarantees his tower going down. It'll be the second tower for Alliance. This one will presumably not be denied, and I don't think you even attempt to defend this one. You just take what farm you can get in the top and the middle of the map. They are drawing lines as if they want to go down towards that bottom lane, but the response has, it's already too late to defend this, so yeah, I think they realize they got to back off.
I think this is one of the, we talk about Lone Druid and he does not have a very good timing of 15-20 minutes, but he does have a very good timing about around 10, where he's got his level 4 Spirit Bear, and I like the fact more and more teams are doing this. They move the Lone Druid into a lane, sort of like the way that like the Tide Hunters would get level 6 and they just move into a lane and they bully down a tower just via their presence and some damage hitters, and this is kind of similar. Dota gives them all the pushing power they need and also all the fighting power, so they just bully down towers. D9 played safe, waiting on their mid-game timings. They are going to try and dive Baby Knight here. They do have the Corrosive Haze as well as the Assassinate, but Baby Knight, Jonas Afon's closing that distance. He has a crush coming up, but won't be able to catch him. It looks like EGM, he is going to be dying instead. Cloud9 to respond just in time. SF's life and
just a little bit too deep, and Slaughter, the 2 points in the sprint, not enough to close that gap. That is a good turnaround for Cloud9 Alliance. I mean, that's one of those like millisecond difference things. If Slaughter just runs in maybe a millisecond sooner, or SF is just like a fraction of a second later on his treat, do find that kill and potentially the tower as well. But all in all, Alliance still kind of poised to keep taking objectives. They want to bring low to mid. They can try and pressure that tier 1 tower. But C9 are starting to get some key levels and items themselves. They're just about to get that first Helm of the Dominator on Ace, and it's very useful to have for these early fights. If you can get something like a Frost Mage to give him some ice armor, even the Purge Creep just to help dealing, like to slow, constantly spam and slow people down, get rid of the amp damage as well. There's a lot of useful creeps Ace can find this game.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like they missed their timing there. I thought they would pull Lone Druid into the mid lane, and they might be able to get that mid tower before the blink, but now it's up on Hesta Joe. Hesta Joe chasing Hanskin. They went for Smoke Gank, hoping to be able to catch Loda here. No such luck on the spins either, so Hesta Joe may actually die here, as he's going to be slowed down, maybe caught by the Spirit Bear. Unfortunately, no entangles just yet. Noya's going to be the next one. Still no entangle, and now the dagger. No pursuit now.
I have a question for you, Cap. PA hasn't decided herself. Do you think you max Blink Strike or Blur first this game? Because you max Blur for the Blink Strike first, the Phantom Strike. But this is one of those games where perhaps you consider Blur.
I think the Lone Druid is such a problem with his bear that you max out Blur.
Yeah. So like 4-1-4, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not the full 4-1, because I kind of feel like you want Strike still maxed out by like level. Yeah. Maybe a couple extra value levels. It's hard to say, right? Because then the headshot gives more value on the sniper.
I really don't know what the answer is there. And for now, he's gone for 2-2. He got a point in Blur at 8, then he went back for a point in Phantom Strike. It seems like he sees value in both and doesn't want to make a full commitment to maxing either.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Those phase boots, and that'll be another big upgrade. As the potential for much larger crit damage is here. As Joe pops his head out. Whoa! A little bit overshoots that Blink Dagger. Misses the opportunity to get a call onto Loda. Now he's Savage Roared up. They go for the Blink backwards, but it's still not enough. The Assassinate damage is there. Loda actually gets blown up by Baby Knight, who was on the high ground, came down with double raise. They're going to finish off Hanskin as well. Ace is looking to be able to close the distance with Limp, while Jonas Savon managed to hit a crush and finishes off Noya, but now he's slowed down by that dagger. Headshot 1, slowing down Ace. Ace not quite in range for the Phantom Strike here. He's actually stuck in an awkward position. He needs help from his team, but Jonas, a Phantom Strike, but Assassinate is here. They're going to finish it off, and Baby Knight can't actually stop that. He's got a Corrosive Haze, turns around 1-2, trying to finish off Jonas Savon. The ultimate is not able to go off in time, so instead it's the death animation that will kill Jonas Savon, but Alliance come out big time, in part because of the Blink Dagger on Jonas.
Yeah. his blink crushes, getting everyone amped up, made all the difference there. And Loda's positioning wasn't the greatest because he got caught from the high ground by the SF, but Sniper was the hero that went unnoticed. And it's one of the big problems with this Alliance draft. Like, PA and Axe can perhaps get on top of one of the two, but doing it to both is a much bigger ask. So while they deal with Loda very quickly and on in the fight, Sniper did 3.3k damage in that fight. That was more than half of the entire hero damage from Alliance, and all of that due to like the Slatter just constantly hazing people up, the Sable and control from him, and even the shrapnel being very well placed on that high ground.
Seems like C9, I think they did a good job. They gave up that safe lane tower. They did manage to defend mid. They kept their tier 1 up there, got the blink dagger, but you know, it was all good, all fine and dandy until they picked up that blink dagger, and ever since then their choices and their initiations from C9 have been completely off.
Yeah, fighting around that bottom shrine was a very tough spot to go for it. That mid lane one was okay if they landed that blink call and instantly had the PA was keeping in as he went for it, but missing it really hurt them. So we'll see how this next fight or two go for them. They've got 3 points in the Bloodlust, so theoretically Ace can dish out a lot of damage very quickly. May look to wait for like the Desolate pickup, but that's still a decent ways off, and I think Cloud9 don't want to just sit back and idly farm while Alliance and give Alliance room to use their blink themselves, because Alliance are somewhat more teamfight ready.
Skin is baiting right now, but it does seem to be a little bit obvious to C9. Not going to take that bait. You'll know some fun sitting on the side here with the blink dagger, and then they had EG Shrine, who are going to be able to pick up an urn. That is something that's missing, I guess, from their roster with a Slar Dart going for the early blinks, so EGM will get that sustain up instead.
Yep. It's important to have at least one in the team when the way these fights are going and stop potential blinks from the Axe, so nice little pickup. Right now, Alliance, very good map vision around the Radiant jungle and this mid lane, so I imagine, yeah, they are going to be eyeing off this mid tier 1 tower. Cliff is already forced out, but it will be traded for top. Rise getting the last step there, and yeah, this Venge finding some farm here and there, so we'll perhaps provide a second helm with the Dominator.
Slow down Limp, and do manage to get a nuke on him. This is pretty good. Oh no,
we
a
missed
failed
again.
call from Hesta Joe. They get him on 4-step backwards, trying to save his life, but with the assassinate and telekinesis, is definitely dead, and that may be the opportunity for Alliance to finally finish off this tier. And Hesta Joe just having a rough game.
Yeah.
This opening game. That's a 3 series initiation from Jonas Sampan onto Noya. Tanky, but Maelstrom makes pretty short work of him. He does have an enemy battle hunger on him, but
And an urn, but no. Yeah, not enough mana for the assassinate from the Sniper. Meant he would barely survive. And again, it was that high ground observerward vision around that mid lane that really set Alliance up to succeed there. And well, fight goes well for them. That was one of those calls where like it looked bad that he missed it, but I feel like even if he landed it, the outcome would have been exactly the same, where he was just diving in a bit too deep, and that instant lift from EGM was going to catch, as well as the blink crash from Slatter was going to hit him regardless. So even if he calls the Sniper, perhaps Limp gets down to maybe half HP and at least takes some damage, but I don't see that fight working well for Cloud9 either way.
It's like the initiation on Dazzle here. It's so far out there, and it's a single hero, call that's probably not going to result more than one spin. It's just like not going to work out. That the game plan itself is flawed, not necessarily just the initiation. So
yeah,
gotta get their heads into this a little bit better. If Alliance aren't going to take that tier 1 tower, if they're not going to force it, then there's no need to force a fight. I think C9 should be more than happy to farm at this point in time, because their big spike is not until 2025.
I mean, they're still a ways off a few crucial items, like the PA Desolator wasn't completed or anything. They don't have that great burst damage for whoever acts calls, and that's really the big problem. Alliance have great heroes to play against the call, the instant lift, the blink crush, instantly disabling him, and I think more than anything, like the Dazzle heal, like you call someone, you suddenly take a heal bomb to the face as well. Hanskin didn't even level Grave early. The last fight around mid lane, he didn't have Grave at level 7. I think he got his first point at level 8, just because he's playing against an Axe, and he's like, this max heal is going to do more. Axe blinks on us, I heal that target, suddenly Axe gets it turned around on him.
A medallion of... That is... I mean, that's one of my favorite things about Dazzle, right? clear through waves with his when he does max out the heal. Push is pretty good, so he's actually got a nice chunk of change in his pocket.
Sneaky alliance.
Pick up the haste.
Oh, is Hester going to blink in? He's there. Does he know? Yeah, they've seen the bear now.
You know about it. They'll lose their Wolf Commander. Oh, stun on Hester Joe, but Ace is sitting there at the shrine, ready to jump anybody that overextends a little bit too far. EGM's going to be trapped inside the shrine, does receive a shallow grave. Hester Joe is not in the region to be able to get the Culling Blade, so it looks like a successful TP. In the backlines, though, Ace is trying to go for Limp, but he's now been stunned up. Hester Joe still trying to get that call, will manage to land it. They also get a crit out, but he's not getting any spins, so Hester Joe finally gets the Culling Blade back over to Loda, who's trying to 1 versus 3 right now to finish off Noya. Hester Joe and Jonas Afan separate, double nukes go on to the bear, finishing that one off, but Loda is just trying to ward C9 away from the Roshan pit. That bit will be successful. Alliance, is that actually a 1-for-2 trade-off in total? It looks like it.
Rubik got away with the TP out, but jump from Cloud9. I mean, even though you don't kill the Rubik there, you take him out of the fight. EGM could have perhaps TP'd to the shrine and used the shrine by himself, and then at least being able to get back into the fight, but even that, I don't know if it would have necessarily made a difference, so good execution there, and Cloud9 get a lot stronger. Just having like a Vanguard on the axe is going to make a big difference for his initiations. It means he doesn't get punished as hard. If he can land that call, typically he's going down as soon as he goes in, so this Vanguard gives him a bit of extra survivability. The Blade Mail going to be the next nice pickup. Obviously going to go for the Crimson Guard first, so recognizing it's all this right-click physical damage, wants some damage block for him and his team.
Okay, I'm done with that. At first, when I saw the Vanguard, I was like, I don't know. Blade Mail feels pretty good against Sniper and Lone Druid, but if he actually does get the completed Crimson Guard, I guess that does add a lot more viability to C9's lineup when they go for real push, and they'll have a lot more sustainability. Alliance poke.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the PA question, like, do you want to go Blink or blur, and I'm like, you really want both. Both have so much value this game. So I guess for Axe, it's like, well, where do you fit the Blade Mail? If he doesn't go back for a Blade Mail after Crimson Guard, I think I'll be a little dubious of. I mean, there is some other valuable items like a 4-staff, so you can Blink Call and then maybe 4-staff out of a tough spot, but I feel the Blade Mail is just such a fantastic item.
4-staff. Good reactions there from Baby Knight. He still got hit by the sun, but then on the high ground, he could turn around, almost finishing off Jonas Afan. Again, Hester Joe's not around. A dagger.
Got the Ignite.
Slightly ill-timed.
He's very low still, but the Dazzle heals will keep him healthy enough.
You have the Desolator, though, for C9. With Baby Knight completing BKB, I think they've reached their peak. They have the Crimson Guard completed as well for Hester Joe, so I think you've got all the items you need. Hester Joe and the rest of Cloud9. Shrine up, go for a push in mid. Almost.
Oh, yeah. Go. You'd love to take this tower so that you can easier take smoke moves like to the enemy side of the map, go into their jungle, and also secure yourselves Roshan. I think now, I mean, they've seen Alliance attempt Rosh. Both teams really want to go for this Rosh early. Venge doesn't micro the creep in the Rosh pit, loses it, so that's kind of some scouting capabilities lost, but he gets another one. He finds an Alpha Wolf, and right now, Roshan is... Whoever gets this first Rosh is going to be in a big strategic advantage. And I think even more so for Cloud9 because their Aegis carrier, the PA, is a hero that wants to dive in and play aggressive. Sniper or Lone Druid with an Aegis, it's like, well, they're sitting back, auto-attacking regardless. In any situation where they lose 1 life, they'll often lose 2. So if Cloud9 get an Aegis, they'll be poised to really start pressing it to Alliance and taking objectives, taking some big fights.
Especially since C9 have that potential for an second life with Baby Knight.
This next fight gets tougher with the Mjolnir. That's a lot of AoE magic damage. You can put that on the bear, you can put that a teammate like the Slaughter when Jonas wants to blink in. So this is a nice boost to Alliance's damage output.
Almost have the completed Hurricane Pike Sniper as well. That'll really help out because these blink daggers, you mentioned the 4-staff, and I was like, man, he kind of does need a 4-staff just because it seems like his blink may not be enough. Like, they can only smoke into these often, and they're dealing with 2 heroes that are sitting at 900 range plus. That blink dagger is only going to be able to cross so much of that distance, you know? So that Hurricane Pike is going to be another good example of how Alliance are going to be able to stay ahead of this one. The Mjolnir static charged up Spirit Bear appears inside the Roshan pit. Hurricane pikes it away, does get some damage in. There's a Hestejo initiation onto 2, catching Loda, almost finishing him off, but he can't get the cooling blade. He's been telekinesis and Loda's getting away. He does have ignite on him, but a healing salve a little bit more. No, he still takes out, ends up dying there. Hestejo gets hit by an assassinate, so he's not able to make his initiation, and still gets hit by Jonas and Fawn. But Alliance do have to back away. Still there's the call. Hestejo does manage to catch Jonas, stalling up long enough for the rest of the team to get here. They hit a dagger, wasn't a crit though. So Jonas will survive. Hestejo back to base for him. Scared of assassinate from Limp.
Yeah, instantly losing the Aegis, but still good fight. Slatter's gonna TP right in.
He thinks that because Hestejo's gone, they can actually fight this one around, but
I don't know about that.
Limp in trouble. A long-range Phantom Strike does get on top of him. A stun out onto Jonas and Fawn, so they can turn onto that off-laner instead. But C9 are in an awkward position right next to that tier 2. Fighting into that Shallow Grave is a bit dangerous. They will back away. Hestejo will now join them for the team fight once again. Jonas.
That was a dubious TP.
I think he thought because the axe wasn't there, he's like, oh, Shallow Grave has so much value now, maybe we can fight into them.
They were down, I guess there was like, there was 3 of them there with the Dazzle looking, yeah, like you said, they had the Shallow Grave, they had the Slider as well as the Sniper, so they felt like they could fight, but yeah, the PA is very scary at this point. Has that level 15 now, so gets the life steal as well. And Ace will be working on that important BKB timing that we talked about during the draft as well.
Is Hestejo all rotten?
Handskin.
Way up towards the top lane here. Unskin may be the go here. Yeah, they're going to jump onto him. Actually, can't get the Culling Blade out in time. The damage is too quick from Ace.
Loda? He's... Oh, they're going to go on the bear instead.
Yeah, the Alliance do have Limp and Jonas and Fawn making their way over from mid lane. They may actually try and jump, but that's a bad idea. C9 are also bringing in reinforcement. Baby Knight is
Ace with the Ice Armor is got that extra bit of survivability. A lot of armor on him. I feel like this Dazzle does still need to use the weave defensively though, because there's such good gap close with the axe and the PA. Just putting the weave onto Loda and Limp is probably the more important approach to taking a fight. But as it stands, C9, even without an Aegis, still looking to take it to the Alliance side of the map. We'll get a free tier 2 tower. Alliance are just looking for trades at bottom lane.
Jonas and Fawn is way there, but it's surprising that C9 that push go all the way up to the tier 3 tower, forcing somebody back. Defend their tier 2. Taking free tier 2, losing maybe a bit of damage on the bottom lane, but
Dire's middle tower
as long as they don't get picked off while they're rotating around the map.
Fall back, Baby now restore some of his mana. About to hit level 18, so that'll be the level 3 Requiem in this upcoming fight. Not much ability to stop that because of the BKB. And
Joe, you ballsy as hell.
Yeah, he wants that blade mail.
Farming up Ancients underneath the Alliance Shrine like that. They had vision of them too. Well, now big increase in damage now. Initiation again.
Yeah, in the past he'd blink in, call, and then often get lifted up, slather crushed, and well, in the earlier fights he was dying, but even in recent ones he's taking a lot of damage. This blade mail really helps protect him. It's like a pseudo BKB in some ways, where you pop it, people don't want to hit you or use stuff on you because you're going to get turned around on. So Alliance will have to be careful about how they approach these next couple of fights. Really feels like the PA more than PA and the Axe more than anything. You're just going to, if they get on top of the Sniper or Lone Druid, the fight could just instantly be over.
One of the great things, PA used to be such a terrible tower pusher. Remember that? You know, it's like your damage was based, right? And you didn't get SO back in the day, so... But now, this PA is actually an excellent tower pusher. Not just because of the Desolator, but also because of the fact that we've got Noya here. So that actually gives you that attack speed increase that out on when facing building.
Yep. And this is the second last out of tower, so another one's going to fall. All that physical damage, and looks like Cloud9 can't take shrines just yet. They will fall back. cover themselves, but both teams will be probably eyeing off taking those shrines as soon as possible if they can take all these out of towers. For now, both teams are just trading towers on opposite sides of the map. No Aegis means it's a bit harder for C9 to force a high ground push, but they're also happy to play a more farming game because they've still got a lot of room to grow on both PA as well as SF. PA gets a lot scarier with a Basher, SF get a lot scarier with something like a Butterfly for himself, or a Skadi, for example. A lot of just stat or armor items he can get to help out the team. Good AC game even, if he wants to go for that.
That's true. That's bad of an idea. Spirit Bear manning up against the Helma Dominator melee creep at 1400 HP.
Yeah. I like how Ace just doesn't even care what creep he's going anymore. He's just like, I'll just go send some creep to scout somewhere on the map.
It really just does not matter. The cooldown's not very long. Takes them a really long time to kill it. Doesn't give them...
Free mobile observer ward, you know? Observer wards are one of the best items in the game. I mean, obviously they're very cheap, but they're also limited source of them, and being able to move one around the map to scout everything is strategically very strong.
And then our other Helmet Dom creep here is giving everybody 66% increase in damage whenever Venge is around between her aura and the Wolf Leader pack.
Plus 201 on Shadow Fiend with his items and those auras. Not bad. And when he's not next to them, it's plus 106. So he gets an extra 100 right-click damage thanks to the auras.
Look at Ace. He's trying to dodge around the Savage Roar. He Phantom Striked in, only got one hit, and then immediately backed out. You know, he's like, okay, I stopped the return. By Savage Roar.
Noya will stop it again. Yeah, that's a dead Spirit Bear. Where is it?
Dagger.
There we go.
Oh yeah, 746 damage.
No split push threat really out there on the map for Alliance, so we're going to lose complete control of their side of the map. Radiant Vision surrounds the Dire base, top and bottom, by their secret shop.
I know it's not a position that Loda feels comfortable with in this game. There is a lot of initiation, but I feel like he does always have to be outside to be giving that potential split push threat. Otherwise, C9 get control and they push high ground.
And the other, I mean, part of the problem for him is right now is he's not level 20 yet. Doesn't have that mighty 50-second respawn time because he's died in a few fights. Often it's been him dying and Limp surviving. He's just a little bit behind where he'd ideally like to be as a lone druid. And boy, Baby Knight has just been
There's a nice initiation with the BKB. PA throws out a dagger on Yono some fun, but he's got to go Scepter. They are going to try and respond, but there shouldn't really be much made of it. Oda, lone druid, they chunk their damage.
Yeah, they'll take the free kill and back on out. Wait for Roche most likely with that respawn coming anytime in the next 3 minutes. It will be a relatively shorter side respawn.
Could creep waves. They do have this aggressive ward. Bounce out some of the options. That's good. Spazion of some fun. Misses the crush. And bells off.
He is ridiculously farmed for a Shadow Fiend. And it's not like he's been... I mean, he's been fighting involved in some of the kills. Like, he's 6 and 3. But I don't feel like he's been, like, getting massive kills in fights to get him farmed. He's just been CSing away this entire game. I mean, 290 CS, 230 on the sniper, but... Baby Knight has been playing the farm game very heavily and is seeing himself well rewarded in terms of overall net worth.
Soon Baby Knight's going to be playing sniper light role himself with that 25 talent. It's going to panic, have great high ground pushing opportunities with sees his Observer Ward being countered, but he wants to be able to go on Limp. Does get the Blade Mail out. Look at the damage that Limp's dealing to himself. Now Ace jumps in, finished off the job with Coup Gras.
Oh, hand skin.
On skin. Gonna get caught. Gonna get bashed by a dagger. Dunzo. Time to force some buyback.
Yeah, force buyback. Even without an Aegis, you don't have PA BKB, so Ace needs to perhaps be careful about hitting the tower, but until those buybacks come out,
an immediate jump in, finish off EGN.
Okay.
Gets a decent amount of damage on the Spirit Bear as well. That's going to be finished off by Baby Knight. Now, Hestejo needs some assistance. Force staff 1, force staff 2, he does get out. Buybacks forced, tier 3 tower down. As long as C9 don't get caught on their way out, this is looking like a perfect exchange.
Yeah. Ace gets low to the assassinate, but he's still more than okay, and they can just head straight towards the Roshan pit off of that, knowing that there's still 2 dead supports, no shrine for Alliance to TP2. They don't actually scout it out. It looks like they may want to shrine up first. Okay, there we go. They've seen it now, but Alliance are just so trapped on their side of the map right now. The Radiant Vision has been somewhat taken away. They're about to lose their 1 Observer Ward as well to the timer, but even so, I think Alliance are just playing too dark on the map to reliably make a move out.
I blinked and Roshan was dead.
Yeah, I actually moved my camera for like 2 seconds away to see what Alliance are doing, and then I'm like, whoa, Cloud9 weren't even in the Roche pit last time I looked.
Yeah, all of a sudden I watch Ace and he just like double crits and Roshan disappears. They pick up Aegis. Joe did a good job cutting that creep wave at bottom. There's a decent push coming out there. Puts a stopper in that one real quick. And Alliance, they're holed up in their base and they seem to be very confident, or at least more confident in their high ground defending ability. Split push, but I am not convinced this is going to go well for them.
Yeah,
I really feel like they need a threat.
Axe is just going to jump a lone druid or a sniper if possible, and then that hero is instantly dead. There's no saving them with a grave reliably. Perhaps a Savage Roar that's well timed, but even that is unreliable with the BKB up now on PA.
Oh no, Jonas Upon caught outside the base. Alliance are supposed to have this very treacherous high ground, but now they've lost their initiator. An offensive weave goes down. Cloud9 could wait this one out, still have decent amount of time where Slardar's dead, and could push high ground probably in a 15-second window.
I mean, they could go now, even with the weave on those heroes, because Ace doesn't have it. Ace is the one who's going to want to be diving in aggressively. Perhaps without the axe, it's a bit harder, but yeah, no bonus armor on Sniper. Lone Druid has to stay very far away. He's just trying to push out that top lane, and yeah, Baby Knight's in there with the weave wearing off.
Buyback is going to be used by Jonas and Pond, but the Melee Rax is still going to be falling here. Baby Knight, helpful for staff. Ace is actually taking a lot of damage from Loda and that bear, but the bear dies, and Loda is now out 1 for 5 seconds.
Satanic for Baby Knight actually works pretty nicely against the Spirit Bear. It's like a free heal up. Just if you pop the Satanic and start right-clicking it for a couple seconds, so very careful how you approach find you've got the crush and the lift, but against Satanic you really need good, reliable, like consistent lockdown to be able to stop Baby Knight just healing back up once he gets down to half HP, and that's something it feels like Alliance they're kind of lacking. I mean, maybe if they had more damage on Sniper Lone Druid, wouldn't be saying that, but it feels like his items are going to keep him well alive for plenty of time to get the Satanic off.
Esther Joe's actually going to get a BKB. Wondering what his next item was going to be.
Okay.
They don't have an AC hero right now, so I thought, maybe that would be his choice.
Yeah.
Allow him to ignore some of these disables when he initiates instead.
It's going to be a Manta style now on PA. They look to, yeah, he's going to replace the Helm of the Dominator and use that to help get rid of that corrosive haze.
Scotty finished up for Limp. That'll help push C9 back, slows them down on their retreat, maybe allows them to be able to get a catch. Tower's left with 9 HP, so the next time C9 push forward, Tower denied.
And still plenty of time left on the Aegis to
They know
stick
this
around.
bear is constantly off cooldown. So Loda, now it's going to be 89 seconds.
Yep. Makes a difference. Like if your hero's gone on, often you need to use the Savage Roar on your bear, or even the Savage Roar on your bear to save a teammate. So the roar on your hero itself is nowhere near as useful as the one on the bear. Slowly but surely, C9 are breaking through the Alliance infrastructure.
Slowly is apparently the key word here. They're not going to go high ground right now. I think the timing on probably wearing out, but it makes me wonder if they're not going to fight because Aegis is wearing out, if they're actually going to wait another round to rush.
I mean, it's a full minute still. I feel like that's enough time to force this top lane. When the PA is like a little low on HP, there's no the BKB on Axe is the major item that's not there. Okay, so they'll have the BKB on Axe coming out in the courier, but it does seem a bit surprising, just like you said, how slow they're going, how cautiously they are treating this high ground defense. But again, it's Lone Druid Sniper, two of the best like high ground defenders in the game because of their range. So Now with the BKB coming out for Axe, they will go for it. Oh,
Back
missed
into the
crush.
deep we go. Jonas Amfan misses his initiation. Will get out because of the Ghost Scepter. Another Manta popped. Ace gets rid of that Corrosive Haze. He focuses on one building. Baby Knight does the other. Ace dropping lower and lower. I think he's committing here. The Aegis is going to be failing soon, so better let it go down now. Hester Joe looks like he got caught by a shrapnel and missed his blink there. Ace on round 2 pops his BKB, finishes off the melee racks, and jumps back to his teammates. Again, another clean escape from C9. Hester Joe thinking about going back in. They'll probably call off, though. They got everything they wanted out of that. That's not to...
Wasn't anything pretty about that push, but it got the job done. The good old, let's pop BKB, right-click the buildings. Let's right-click the buildings while dying with Aegis. Nothing nuanced about it, but Cloud9 get the objectives and put themselves in a position to close out this game with the next Roshan. Wow, that's a very aggressive... I mean, I'd seen Loda queue up the Skadi, then he swapped to the BKB, and now he's committed to a Desolator as his item of choice on the Lone Druid.
It does feel like their physical damage is lacking with SF and PA are just hitting on those buildings.
Oh, another miscrush. Jonas is getting kited around by these Hurricane Pikes.
Smoke out, but it doesn't... When it comes of it, C9 can just play defensively right now. They've got top lane pushing in with Super Greaves. Mid lane will also eventually push in. Hester Joe goes for the force staff forward. Managed to get the blink on Loda. That's a big one. Culling Blade. Finish them off. No save from Hanskin possible with that Shallow Grave. Baby Knight, he goes for the other damage dealer, ignoring most of them. Forces Limp back. Now they'll finish off Hanskin. Baby Knight keeps on pushing Limp farther and farther back. Looks like Jonas Amfan did manage to get away. But now they're going to have to fight without the Lone Druid. He was level 19 still.
Oh.
Hester Joe. Okay, that was a silly death. Maybe Ace can make the better of it or not. He needs to pop his BKB here if he really wants to be able to jump on Limp. Does manage to get the bash. Maybe this is it. Force that forward. A couple more right clicks. They do get him. Jonas Amfan gets stunned up. Now the ultimate let go by Baby Knight. Does hit the back lines. Limp is hoping to be able to finish off Ace, but he gets another Phantom Strike away. They turn their attention towards the buildings. Limp, he just cannot seem to outpush the damage to really force C9 back fast enough. It's just going to be a range racks left. That's it. Swap back. Limp is probably dead now, and Alliance will call it. GG.
Okay, that was a pretty close game 1, at least for the start. It felt like Alliance, their laning stage, very good. That was really where they shined, but once we got to the mid game, we just started seeing the reliable initiation coming in from the Axe, and I feel like the supporting cast around the Shadow Fiend and PA offered more than like what Rubik Dazzle did in the mid to late game. Rubik Dazzle, very good as far as shoring up the lanes, giving Alliance a good early game advantage. We saw PA really struggle to find a lane to farm, but we saw the weakness of the support duo come mid to late game because they didn't do anywhere near what like the Venge was doing as far as having the swap initiations, amping up all the damage, that plus 60% damage or whatever it was, Noya with the Bloodlust and Force Staff helping out the team. I feel like the cores functioned very similarly on both teams, but the supports were more effective from Cloud9.